The third speaker is Ms. Ako Inoue from Tsuda University. Ms. Inoue, please recheck that your camera is on. The topic for the extemporaneous speech is, with COVID-19 forcing us to abandon our old ways of living, we are also quickly stepping into a new generation of the unknown. To establish this new reality as a new kind of motivating prologue for humanity, what specific actions must we take? Then, Ms. Inoue, please be ready and start your best prologue.
Sure. Thank you, Master of Ceremony and honorable judges. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before starting my speech, let me ask a question for you. How do you imagine what will happen our 10 years later future with COVID-19? Even if now we can't go our university and we can't meet our friends or family, so that we tend to think we are in darkness. However, I found an interesting news on Twitter. That is, we don't have to work, but we can live without any money anxiety because of the development of artificial intelligence, that is AI. So today, I want to tell you that we don't have to worry about our future so much. So after my speech, I want all of you to feel relieved. Now, we have some troubles in our life. That is, since we can't go out, we can't meet people so much. So our mind is in darkness. However, even if we can't meet our friends or family, we have to work to live. Let me talk about my experience a little bit. Because of the many assignments and we can't share the sad feeling, my friend had started to have mental problem. She quit going to university now. In general, the people who have depression increased because of the influence of the COVID-19. So what should we do in this terrible situation? That is easy and simple. That is, to keep our mind healthy. Thanks to the development of AI, in the future, we don't have to work, but the basic income will be given us. So all we have to do now is to keep our mind healthy and live until the AI will help us. But how? How can we do that? That is easy too. Use Zoom or Skype or any other equipment that connect us to someone. We can get them for free, so we can easily start them. Let's use those equipment and keep our mind healthy. And actually, recently, I talked to the friend who I told you before that who have mental trouble, but her mental is recovering now step by step. So all I want to say is, all we have to do now is do not be afraid so much our future and just prevent COVID-19 now. In the near future, the AI will help us by giving us basic income. So all we have to do now is to care about our mind. So ladies and gentlemen, please share your sad or anxiety feeling to your precious friend by using Zoom or Line or any other equipment. To keep our mind health and welcome the AI will be our prologue to make our society brighter. Thank you for listening.
Welcome the third speaker. The third speaker is Ms. Ako Inoue from Tsuda University. Ms. Inoue, please recheck that your camera is on. She will deliver her speech under the title, Girls' Behavior, an Unconscious Vicious Cycle. Girls' Behavior, an Unconscious Vicious Cycle. Then, Ms. Inoue, please be ready for your speech and start your best prologue.
Sure. Thank you, Master of Ceremony and honorable judges. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What a funny story it is. This is how I laugh when I feel excited. One of my friends loves like a cymbal banging monkey toy because she claps her hands many times when she laughs. Another friend of mine laughs very loudly so that anyone can notice where she is. These people, including me, are often pointed out by people around us. Oh, your behavior lacks 女子力. Why don't you behave more girly-like? No one will marry you. When we go food at something, don't put on makeup, cannot make fancy dishes, or things like this, we are labeled this way. Today, I'd like to talk about this situation because many girls are bound by and suffering from this word 女子力. You may not know that the word 女子力 has a power to change another people's behavior. Actually, 86% of my friends have experienced that they had to change their behavior after being mentioned about their 女子力. The goal that I aim to achieve through this speech is that gender stereotype won't increase anymore by thinking about 女子力. And this speech will become the prologue that everyone will notice and break the gender stereotype. First of all, I have to explain about 女子力. 女子力 is a generic term for femininity. Strangely, 女子力 is not written in any dictionary, but everyone knows this word and unconsciously use it very often. Let me give some examples. When you see a girl who is always good at styling hair, has a spare band-aid, read magazines and get the newest information, don't you say, oh, you have 女子力. On the other hand, when you see a girl who doesn't care about her appearance so much, doesn't have a handkerchief, or sitting with her legs opened, don't you say, oh, you don't have 女子力, do you? Like this, 女子力 is often heard in our daily life. In this speech, I'll refer to this word as girls' behavior. Why do we often see the word girls' behavior in our daily lives? The reason is, without thinking so much about the word's meaning, we frequently use it when we think someone's behavior doesn't apply to gender stereotype. As the gender stereotype spreads, there are many unspoken rules of how girls should behave accordingly. Then, girls start to adapt the gender stereotype. So, what happens when mentioning someone with girls' behavior? Of course, not only the advisor, but also the advisee come to conscious our way of behavior. When I was a high school student, I was also overwhelmed by the gender stereotype. I used to use not a fashionable, but functional plain pouch, which my mother gave me. One day, my classmates were talking. Oh, this pouch is so cute, you have girls' behavior. When the girl started to have a charming floral printed pouch. She said to her friends, absolutely, a girl high school student should have a cute one, so I bought it. Hearing their conversation, I completely thought a girl high school student should have cute items. Although there was no such a rule, the gender stereotype of girls' behavior was born in myself, and I quit using the pouch. By mentioning our way of behavior, the gender stereotype is created or becomes stronger in our minds. To solve this problem, that the vicious circle of gender stereotype spreads by using girls' behavior, both girls and boys who use this word have to notice that their unnecessary suggestion changes the more and more victims. Thus, not to use the word is the fastest solution for not increasing the gender stereotype anymore. We can stop this vicious circle by not putting these old ideas into words. The important point here is, by not using this word, we decrease the opportunities to judge ourselves by our gender stereotype. See who we are without this girl's behavior. Now, I have a favor of all of you here in this room. We should behave as we like, without carrying gender stereotype. Let's end the vicious circle and consider how you live your life from now on. To do so, we, all gender, can realize how much have we been bound by this word. Then, feel free from the gender stereotype and feel how fun it is to live your own way. If you hear this speech and feel that you haven't had a gender stereotype unconsciously, please realize that the vicious circle of girls' behavior starts by mentioning. So even if you feel someone's behavior doesn't apply to girls' behavior, don't mention it from now on. Dear the people who have been tied by the word, please release yourself from that curse and find what you want to do and who you are. Find what you like from that flat condition. Each of us can change our consciousness and save us, and also those around us. Once, I was bound by the gender stereotype. But now, I decided not to care because I noticed that doing something that we don't really like or we don't know what it is for is very ridiculous. Now, I can be who I am and do what I want to do. I love myself smiling with a good laugh, so I'll continue this laughing style. I wear makeup whenever I want to put on. I cook tasty dishes, not varying the appearance. Now I'm using the plain pose. Ladies and gentlemen, why not feel free from the gender stereotype? Someday in the near future, I want everyone to be able to live without carrying any gender stereotype. As our first step, let's not use the word girls' behavior, 女子力. Thank you.
Next, we have a question and answer period. Mr. Tamura, please.
All right, Ako-san, thank you so much for your speech. How are you today?
I'm still nervous.
Good. I think you did a great job. Thanks very much for an interesting speech.
Thank you.
But I think I believe that a joshiryoku is very important for women. Do you know the words survival of the fittest? Have you heard of this word before? Survival of the fittest. So that comes from the Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory. Yeah. So that means the person who survives can adapt to the change. So my first question to you, Ako-san, is that who has the higher possibility of getting married and having children? A woman with higher joshiryoku or a woman with zero joshiryoku?
So you mean the merit of having girls' behavior and the demerit of not having girls' behavior?
Yes. Which person will have the higher possibility of getting married and having children?
I think in this society, today's society, I think the women who have girls' behavior is higher because society still needs femininity. But I think femininity sometimes break the girls' identity because they have to fake their true appearance. So I want someday in the near future, there is no need to have femininity. So my answer is, in this society, the women who have higher girls' behavior has a higher position.
Okay, I understand that femininity will eventually destroy the girl's authentic behavior. However, if you look at the reality in a society, I think eventually women want to get married and they marry a man. And if you look at the standard of men, I think men tend to like women with higher joshiryoku. So in order to, because if you look at the theory, the survival of the fitness, I think you needed to adapt to the situation. So how do you hit the balance between the two?
I think finally we judge people by the humanity, not femininity. So
okay.
So I know your opinion because I had a friend who thought so, and he asked me, if there is no girl's behavior, how can we judge or how can we choose our girlfriend? So I answered him that finally we judge the people by the humanity, not femininity. So you should look the humanity firstly. So I want society to spread this thought.
Good answer. Thank you, Ako-san. So the next question is what is gender stereotype? So if Japan keeps this gender stereotype, what would be the negative consequences?
Okay, I want to mention two things. The first one is women have difficulty to get their job because of the gender stereotype. According to my senior, she went a company and she wanted to be a salesman to sell a product, but the human management said to her the salesman would be men's job because women should be the receptionist or something like that. So she couldn't get the job finally. So job is important in our life, but women can't get their job even because of the gender stereotype. So I think gender stereotype plays the negative role when women get a job. And the second thing is the sexual crime or something like that is thought as a natural thing because it is natural for women to get involved in sexual crime or a molester. The society doesn't change at all. Like they don't make the law or they don't make the system to protect them. So I think gender stereotype would break the women's life in job hunting and like the sexual crime or something like that. So I think gender stereotype is have bad influence. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you very much, Ako-san. That's all the questions I have. Thank you so much. Good job.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tamura and Mr.
Where she
Inoue.
is.